6 months ago, I moved into residence for my second year at GCT. I thought I knew exactly how the semester would go. I didn't. This year started so different from my first year. Because last year I shared a room with someone else, but this year I was finally allocated a single room. It might seem like a small thing, but to me it really felt like a fresh start because for the first time I had a space that was completely mine. A place where I could learn more about myself, spend time alone, and grow into the person I wanted to become. When I first walked into the room, it was completely empty, but I remember looking around and imagining everything it could become. I was so excited to decorate it and add little pieces of myself to it. To make it feel warm, cozy, and personal. I wanted it to reflect who I am, the things I love, and even the goals I was working towards. I honestly believed that having my own room will change everything. I pictured myself studying for hours without distractions, waking up early, being consistent, creating content, and becoming the version of myself I had imagined for so long. Looking back now, I smile because the room did everything I hoped it would in some ways, I guess. It became my safe space, but I also learned that growth doesn't come simply because your environment changes. Having the perfect room didn't automatically build discipline, and that part still has to come from you. And I think that's where the semester really began. Mistake number one was really abandoning the systems that were already working. Because I remember last year, the library genuinely became my second home. That's where I concentrated. That's where I knew I would focus, I would get things done and actually be so content with the work that I've done, because you generally feel you don't feel great when you don't do things that you've promised yourself to do in a way. And but this year I remember I convinced myself, nah bro, let's just leave the library. I'll be able to study in my room, I'll be able to do this in my room. It didn't work. This thingy of if you want to be disciplined, you don't necessarily have to try so hard to do things that you've promised yourself to do. You just have to put systems in place that will enable you to do things that are productive at ease. You can't say I want to study, I want to do so much, but I know my room is sort of my comfort space and I can't focus there. So why am I forcing myself to, and forcing myself multiple times? It doesn't work. Change the strategy. Don't just stick with one thing. And I think that's just one mistake that I did. Number two was I stopped preparing before lectures, and I know that that's how I learn best. That's how I perform them. That is what I do the most. And I stopped doing that. I stopped doing that. I know myself. I don't do well when I cram. I need time to study ahead, to prepare to do this and that. And I didn't do that at first. Also, another interesting thing about um just falling losing track of everything is that it never starts like a big decision that you make. It's come in.
Friend, I did not see you today.
Yeah, as I was saying, it never starts like a big decision that you wake up and be nah, I'm gonna like leave everything. And it's it starts oh, okay, I missed one lecture, man. I didn't prepare for one lecture, then I'm gonna do better next time. And then next time you feel and then you don't do it. And then it starts becoming a norm. And the one thing that really hurt me in the the process of seeing me not stick to my commitments sequentially, now it's an ongoing thing. It becomes sort of your identity. And you start sort of hating yourself. And because I stopped preparing beforehand in lectures, I started getting annoyed and not understanding when I was in lectures. And because I didn't understand in lectures, I didn't want to go anymore. During chat, my friends will literally drag me to their lectures at times, and I'd be they don't get it. They don't get it. And this entire time you've just put yourself in a place you were genuinely not supposed to be in. And catching up becomes overwhelming. And before you know it, I was already behind. And Yeah, it's never one big decision that you wake up one day and you decide to do. It's a sequence like of bad decisions that you do every single day. Like start with one simple decision that you make. When I wake up, I'm not gonna touch my phone for the next 15 minutes. It's not a big thing, it's not too overwhelming. You can like do that, and the more you do it, the more you trying to be better, you know. And also another big thing that I did was cutting down completely on things that were stealing my time. Oh, TikTok missed my life so much, you know. And like scrolling addiction is so real because you lose track of time, you lose track of your surroundings, you stop being present, and you stop wanting to do things because of instant gratification. You know, I'm not gonna hate myself for it. I've learned so much, and the one big decision that I've done was to just delete TikTok and never go back, like ever again. I know I wanted to do content creation, like short form videos, but there are other ways, you know, to do it without having to install TikTok. Because yeah, no, if it reminds me of that Bible verse that says, if your right arm causes you to sin, then you should cut it off completely. Yeah, and this one, I don't think I'm gonna I don't think I will go back. I don't want to go back because also it made me hate myself so much, you know, and you're just wasting away seeing other people live their lives and everything. I don't think I'm gonna go back. And yeah. Another mistake that I did was borrowing someone else's food blueprint in it. So you see someone not do like things that you're supposed to be doing or things that you want to do and that work for you, and they're not doing all of that, and they're getting like they're cruising nicely, you know. And comparison doesn't always look like jealousy. It's like abandoning yourself in the process, trying to be like someone else. Because I had a friend who could literally study the day before or whenever, like, and they also get good grades, and you start comparing yourself to them and be like, if they can, then I can, you know. And no, some other people are just meant to run like races. They can sprint, but I needed to run like a marathon, you know, and never compare yourself to other people, no matter how well they are doing. If something doesn't work for you, you leave that and you try something else, and literally stop comparing yourself to other people. Yeah, comparison has a funny way of making you forget things that you already know. Yeah, don't do that, guys. It's lame. Don't be like me. Don't do that. And the last one is that I knew better. In the midst of every bad decision that I made, I knew better. And that was one of the hardest parts about it, having to live with yourself, having to live with yourself, hate yourself for it, you know, like be disgusted at yourself for it, and all of the all of those things. Self-aware. This is what I wrote down there. I think the hardest part about being self-aware is living with the knowledge that you knew better. I knew I needed structure. I knew I needed my to-do list. I knew I needed to ask for help instead of struggling in silence. I knew I needed boundaries, most importantly, with my time, you know. I knew exactly what worked for me, but every morning became, I'm gonna start properly tomorrow, man. But then tomorrow will become the next week, and next week became the end of the semester. Knowledge is powerful, but only when it's followed by action. And if there's one thing that I needed you guys to take today, or future me if you're watching this, is that knowledge is powerful, but only when it's followed by action. And yeah.